Hello everybody, Jake here for FMSCOUT, and today, as you've seen in the title, we're going to be doing a player growth test for a £1 million Wonderkid within Football Manager 20. If you haven't heard my voice before, that is because I'm new to FMSCOUT, this is my first video. I'm really happy to be on board and really excited to bring you guys some Football Manager content going forward, and hopefully from creating videos such as this one, I'll be able to help you guys out and show you some players who you can buy in your own Football Manager saves. The Wonderkid that we're going to be looking at today is known for being one of the best Spanish youngsters in the game for a relatively cheap price who you can develop into a top player for your club. So we're going to go and take a look at him now, and it is Pelayo Morilla. So here is Pelayo Morilla. He plays for Sporting Gijon and is often in their second team when you load up a save. This is using the latest FM database. And you can see here that he's got pretty decent stats, nothing too stand out. He does have 18 determination and 15 flair. However, if you didn't already know, there are a lot of variables in Football Manager that can change. For example, when you start up your save, he might not have these exact stats. So this is a growth test, so I'm not going out and saying that he will be the world's best player. We're going to go and find out what happens with him. But for £1 million, I think you will at least return your investment. You can see he is a natural attacking midfielder and a natural winger, but for me doesn't have the physical attributes to be a standout left winger. He can't really tear it down the wing with 12 pace. He does have decent crossing, but I think he's better suited to this attacking midfield position, and that's where we're going to be using him within this growth test. If we go and look at this guy's contract, we can see he does have a minimum fee release clause of £1 million, and from what I've seen before, that is the lowest offer that Gijon will accept anyway, so he will be £1 million dead on pretty much if you buy him at the start of a save. Now we will be using PSG for this growth test, but I'm not going to go out and say that he'll be good enough for PSG. I think this kind of player would be good for a championship team or a team of similar quality, and at his peak will be good enough for the top 5 leagues. I would say he'd be a standout player at his peak when he's playing for a team probably in the bottom half of the Premier League, for an example. Say if Pelayo Morilla was playing for Brighton, when he's fully developed, then he'd be a really good player for them, but I don't think he'd be Manchester United's starting left winger, if that makes sense. So just to show you guys how much you can get him for here, I will try and ask for about 700k, but I assume they'll say no from what I've done before. Yeah, there we go. They say that is unacceptable, but as soon as we hit that £1 million mark, they don't have a choice. They have to accept it. So I've advanced forward now, and we can see that we're in the contract negotiations. We can see he's looking for around 8k, so you could probably whittle that down to about 6k if you tried. We'll see what we can do here. There you go, so around anywhere between 6 to 10k he will accept, which isn't too bad for a player who at his very least will return that £1 million investment. So that was just to prove to you how cheap you guys can get him. So now we're going to go over to a save where I've already brought him into a PSG team, and we'll simulate 3 seasons and show you his progress at the end of each season. So let's get into that. So what I've done here is I've left the subs clear and the starting lineup clear other than Morilla in the attacking midfield position, which means when we do go on holiday for a year, I'll set it so that they have to use these tactics, and that way Morilla will start every match. Obviously he will develop quite well at a team like PSG because he's going to be playing with a lot of good players, and whilst that might mean he won't get much of a limelight, it will at least mean he's working with some really good training staff. Obviously there are variables in Football Manager such as training facilities which can affect a player's growth, and PSG are going to have high level facilities. One thing to note though, you saw that he had 18 determination in that previous save. In this save he only has 8 determination, so that's going to make it pretty hard for him to reach his potential, which PSG value at about 4 stars, which for a £1 million player is very good considering star rating is compared to other players within your team. So this is saying that one of the PSG coaches believes that Pelayo Morilla at his peak would be good enough to be a 4-star player in a team that does have the likes of Neymar and Mbappe, so the standards are very high here. So now we go on holiday for the first season and see how Pelayo Morilla does as a PSG player. Okay guys, so here we are at the end of season 1. Before we get into how Pelayo Morilla did, I would actually like to ask you guys, as we are reaching the end of Football Manager 20, let me know who your favourite Wonderkid was this year in the comments down below. One of the things we can instantly see on the screen is that PSG did win the league by a 13-point margin. Gijon of all teams come in second, which is very surprising, but if we look at the player stats, we can see Pelayo Morilla does appear on this list. Not as the highest goal scorer, not as the highest average match rating or the most assists, but the best pass completion, which you would probably expect considering he is playing in an attacking midfield position where he will be receiving and distributing a lot of the ball, and considering he's been playing every game, it's not surprising that his pass completion is that high. But we're going to go into, remember he was 1.5-star current ability with 4-star potential. Let's see how the guy has got on. We can see his current ability has gone up to 2-star and his potential to 4.5-star, which is really good to see. He's 18 years old now, he's been capped for the under-21 team and got an under-21 goal. His stats have developed all round quite nicely. I remember his dribbling was only at 10 earlier, so it has gone to 12 in his first season. His technicals have improved, his mentals have gone up, and his physicals have kind of improved, but not too much. He has the places shot trait, which I don't know if he did have before, but it is in there now. He seems to have earned himself a new contract too, so we'll go into his career stats and see how he actually did this season. With an average rating of 6.82, he's hit 2 goals and 2 assists, and got 1 player of a match within Ligue 1 this season. And outside of that, he seems to have picked up a goal in a cup match, and that seems to be that for his first season. He hasn't played in the continental competitions. I would assume that's because when I have simulated ahead, whoever's chosen the Champions League team has chosen not to put him in, which is fair enough considering, he is only 18 and not the best player, and PSG do have a wealth of talent, but I would say for a first season as a 17-year-old, that's not too bad. He could do better in PSG's team, but I have noticed 2 things. One, that obviously PSG have got players who are going to be getting all the goals instead of him. The likes of Neymar, Mbappe, Cavani will all be taking the limelight ahead of him. Plus, from what I've seen in Football Manager 20 so far, attacking midfielders don't often play very well in terms of the key stats such as goals and assists. That seems to be kind of missed out. Attacking midfielders, for me at least, haven't really been that successful. So maybe that's one of the reasons for it. If we look at his coach report here, it's all good things, only a couple of cons. And interestingly, the PSG coaches class him as good, almost as good should I say, as Pablo Sarabia, which is really good to see at only the age of 18. They reckon in that attacking midfield spot, Pelayo Morilla is almost up there with the likes of Sarabia. Still a long way off your Neymar and your James Rodriguez, who's apparently signed for PSG here. But I think for a first season at a club such as PSG, I think he's done okay for himself. It's not amazing. As I said, this is a growth test. I haven't planned this out, so at the end of the video he scores 100 goals and I show you this 100 goal wonder kid for only £1 million. That's not how this is working. I don't know how well he's going to do. I just think for £1 million he's a very interesting buy who will at least return the value that you have spent on him. If you look here, he is valued at £1.5 million. If someone came in for an offer, you would expect for a player of that value around £3 million, which already is triple the investment that you laid down into him. So we're going to move on to Season 2 now, see how well he does, see if he's progressed any better. So let's get into it. Okay, here we are at the start of Season 2, and we can see straight away that AS Monaco challenged PSG and pushed it all the way to an only 3-point difference. It meant PSG won the league. Very close to not winning it there, and I probably would have been sacked if that had happened. We can see this season Pelayo Morilla doesn't appear on these player stats list, so he hasn't been the best at anything this season. We'll quickly have a look at the competitions. We can see that we didn't do very well in most competitions, other than this one, the Champions League, where we came runners-up to, let's see, who do we come runners-up to? Manchester City. I suppose that's not too bad. Kylian Mbappe getting the limelight there. I would expect that Morilla didn't play in the Champions League games again, because he probably still isn't ready, considering this team that PSG do have. So we're going to have a look at the squad now and see how well Pelayo Morilla's done. Okay, here we are now. He's got a new contract again. He's valued at £3 million now. If you were to sell him, you could expect anywhere between £6 to £10 million, which is a great return on a £1 million investment. He's gone up to 2.5 stars. So far he's progressing half a star each year, which isn't too bad. At that rate, you'd expect him to be a 3.5 star 21-year-old, a good squad player for a PSG team. That's not bad at all for £1 million, and his potential has remained in the same place. His physicals seem to have gone up a little bit, his technicals not so much, and his mentals are slowly progressing, but it wasn't the biggest season of progress for Morilla, I would say. But if we do go to his career stats, we can see he did have a better season with an average match rating of 6.97, almost a 7 match rating overall, playing 38 games yet again, scoring 3 goals and getting 2 assists. So an extra goal, but 1 less player of a match. If we look into the details here, he did also get 2 assists in the cup, taking his tally up to 4 assists. So again, not the best season for a player playing in the PSG team where you'd expect him to get a bit more luck than that. But like I said, we are on the 10 determination Pelayo Morilla as opposed to the 18 determination Pelayo Morilla that we did see. So this is all dependent on how he starts at the start of your save, but I still think for £1 million it's a good deal. We just got given the wrong end of the stick basically in this save, which isn't the best for a growth test like this, but at least it's realistic, so I'm not giving you guys any false information. And with that being said, I think we should get into the third and final season to see how he has progressed as a 20-year-old. Okay guys, here we have it. We have finished as champions again, 89 points a season, a bit clearer of Monaco compared to last season. Again, Morilla does not appear in any of these lists. If we go to the competitions, we can see we came runners-up in the Champions League again. Do not say it was to Man City once again. But we did win the French Cup, and if we do go to Pelayo Morilla now, we'll see how he got on this season. He is still a 2.5 star player, so that hasn't really increased. His potential has dropped to 4 stars. He is a Wonderkid now, though I may have missed that on the last season, I don't know. But it does now say Wonderkid, and he's got a new trait of likes ball played into his feet. So at minimum, they expect him to become a 3-star player at PSG, which is still a good squad player, with the potential to be 4 stars. His physicals are at a level now where you'd class them as pretty decent physicals for an attacking midfielder. You could maybe have his balance and his acceleration go up, but from where he started, that's not too bad. His technicals still aren't improving the way you'd like, but give it a season or two and he'll have a few more green stats, particularly in long shots, passing and technique. He's got 15 flair, 14 decisions, 14 composure, 14 vision, and you can see in terms of stats that are important for an attacking midfielder, he's not doing too bad for himself and will develop into a really good player within the next couple of years. His value is at £3.8 million, so again, if you were to sell him, I'd expect anywhere between 6 and 10, which obviously is a great return on a £1 million investment. If we look at him this season, he got one less goal than before. His average match rating has dropped a little bit, but his assist count has stayed the same consistently, with an extra player of a match in there somewhere, so maybe he got all those goals in one thing. But if we look here, he played 54 games this season. That's a crazy number. He was probably very tired for the majority of these. He has played in continental competition that could have been the Champions League or the Club World Cup, but with 1 goal and 1 assist, he's doing alright on the European front. But I think while it isn't great, it is at least realistic of a player for £1 million. At a PSG team, I will say it again that if you sign him for a team that isn't as good as PSG, he'll probably develop better because he's going to be more of a star player. Now, if we do look at his report here, we can see he is classed as the same level as Golovin, Sergio Canales and better than Pablo Sarabia in that attacking midfield position. And I mean, if he goes up half a star, he'll apparently be as good as Neymar. But looking at this, he is supposedly at the same level as a 30-year-old James Rodriguez. I do not believe that to be true, seeing all the green stats on that list there. But you can see that the PSG coaches do rate him quite highly. And considering some of them players cost PSG lots and lots of money, for £1 million, Morilla is a great signing. So that'll be the end of today's growth test. I think from this we've learnt that you could probably buy him if you've got the money. There'd be no harm in signing this guy for your team. Put him in your youth team, loan him out, use him, whatever you want to do. You'll at least make some money off him, so hopefully that has been useful for you guys. And again, this is with the wrong end of the stick where he started off with 8 determination. Let me know in the comments who you'd like me to do my next growth test with. And if you've seen Pelayo Morilla do well in your save, let me know. I have been Jake for FM Scout. I thank you for watching. If you did enjoy the video, leave a like and subscribe to FM Scout for some of the best Football Manager content out there. So thank you for watching and goodbye.